From Spain to Denmark, Princess Leonor says official goodbye to King Felipe. In every royal family, there comes a moment of separation. We imagine farewells between fathers and daughters as gentle, ordinary events, a hug, a tear, and the promise of return. But what happens when that farewell is not only personal, but historic? What if the goodbye between a father and daughter also symbolizes a nation's transition, a crown passing silently from one generation to the next? This is the story of Princess Leonor's official goodbye to her father, King Felipe. A moment drenched in love, duty, and destiny. A farewell not just between parent and child, but between Spain's present and its future. From the day she was born, Leonor carried expectations heavier than most could imagine. As the first female heir to the Spanish throne in centuries, her life was never just her own. King Felipe, knowing this, raised her with balance, protecting her innocence as long as he could, while preparing her for the throne that awaited. Through childhood, through school, through every official duty, Leonor walked in his shadow, learning by example. But every shadow eventually fades, and every student must step into her own light. Leonor's journey from Spain to Denmark is not simply a change of location, it is a symbolic departure, a step away from her father's guiding hand and toward her own reign. And at the heart of it all lies one unforgettable moment, the official goodbye. It was not staged for spectacle, though the cameras were there. It was not just protocol, though tradition demanded it. This farewell was intimate and grand, deeply human yet undeniably royal. In the palace corridors, where echoes of history whisper from every stone, father and daughter stood face to face. Felipe, not only as king but as a father, looking at the child who had become a woman ready to lead. Leonor, not only as heir but as daughter, ready to step into the world with strength, courage, and love. What made this goodbye so powerful was its duality. To the public, it was ceremonial, the handing over of responsibilities, the acknowledgement of Leonor's new role in Denmark, her path intertwined with Prince Christian's. But beneath the public display was a father's private heartbreak, an awareness that the little girl who once clung to his hand was now walking away, not in rebellion, but in fulfillment of her destiny. Felipe's reaction told the story in silence. His voice, when he spoke, carried the authority of a king but trembled with the emotion of a father. His eyes glistened, not with weakness, but with love too deep to conceal. And as he embraced Leonor, the entire world saw something rare, a monarch undone by the simple truth of fatherhood. For Leonor, the goodbye was equally profound. Her voice was steady, her words carefully chosen, yet her eyes lingered on her father with a mixture of reverence and love. She knew what this moment meant, not just for herself, but for Spain. She was leaving her homeland, her family, and the father who had been her constant guide, to begin a new chapter in Denmark. But in that goodbye, she also carried Spain with her. The emotional impact rippled outward. Courtiers whispered that Felipe spent long hours in reflection afterward, walking the palace halls alone. Advisors noted his unusual silence during meetings that followed. And the Spanish people, watching from afar, felt the weight of the moment. It was not just Leonor saying goodbye to her father, it was Spain watching its future queen take her first true step away from home. And yet, every end holds a beginning. Felipe, for all his emotion, showed unwavering pride. He had prepared Leonor for this moment all her life, teaching her not only the art of monarchy but the strength of character required to face the world. His goodbye was not a surrender, it was a blessing. A silent promise that though she walked ahead, he would always remain behind her, a steady presence, a guiding voice, a father forever. The symbolism was clear. Spain and Denmark were no longer just allies, they were now connected through love, through family, through Leonor's journey. And Felipe's farewell embodied that bridge, an acknowledgement that while his daughter's path carried her beyond Spain's borders, her heart and crown remained rooted in the nation she was born to serve. Observers called the moment historic, but to Felipe and Leonor, it was something simpler, a goodbye between father and daughter. No amount of crowns, thrones, or ceremonies could disguise the humanity of that instant. He held her tightly, perhaps remembering the first time he cradled her as a newborn. She leaned into him, perhaps remembering every childhood moment when his presence was her safety. And in that embrace, the centuries-old weight of monarchy melted into something universal, the love between parent and child. As Leonor stepped away, the questions began. Would Felipe struggle with her absence? Would Spain embrace her departure as strength or fear it as loss? How would Leonor carry her father's legacy into Denmark, balancing love with duty, heritage with future? The answers are still unfolding. But what remains undeniable is the power of that farewell. A king, letting go. A daughter, stepping forward. A nation, holding its breath. And so, the story of Leonor's goodbye is not one of endings, but of transformation. Philippe's role as king continues, but his role as father has entered a new chapter. Leonor's role